The Missing. The chilling, mysterious music establishes the right atmosphere as we smoothly move through the fog-wrapped streets of an old town. Unease pervades the scene, long stretches of nothing, a pretty creepy kind of nothing. Located in a peaceful valley, the town has a robust history of peaceful prosperity. Its delightful streets and serene views guard a not-so-bright past, of which only the oldest and most beloved inhabitants tell. Through a dense, dark wood, a sinuous and seldom-walked road winds its way to a castle that stands with gates ajar and stones tumbling down. The road is strewn with leaves and veiled by fog that clings to the ground and wends its way through the trees. Once a powerful symbol, the castle now seems like a part of the past. Its windows are dark and expressionless, and its halls are silent. This might make anyone uncomfortable, just as the sight of an abandoned building inevitably does. But it's the nature of the silence that really gets to you. Silence can say so much, and it's actually the best way to convey a feeling. Lately, curious and unsure townspeople have observed weird shimmering in the sheeny old walls of the castle. The Illuminati want to summon up something. Well, some among them think this, though no one says it out loud. Something that can fight against the incipient madness. They say it's like seconds before despair. Strange, flickering lights seen in the castle at night sparked nascent rumors, as they reckoned anybody would in that great, cobwebbed place. The lights appeared and then carried on shimmering through the dreams of anybody unlucky enough to pass that particular point, where you could still look back and see the patch in the lawn where reality had gone askew. The murmurs increased in volume, and before long, a profoundly unsettling idea came to light. A vampire had made its home in the desolate old castle. This was a suspicion that infected the whole of the close community, the kind of thing that was impossible to keep hidden, and so they watched and listened to see if they could catch any sign of the dreaded creature, who they could only assume was now part of their new unnatural order. The townspeople grew fearful, and a sense of unease crept through the air, rapidly infecting every member of the community. Come evening, the people could be seen huddling together for safety inside their poorly lit homes. Instead of the usual raucous laughter rising into the night, eerie silence now filled the town square, the air thick with foreboding. The worry in the town grew when a number of citizens went missing completely. They vanished suddenly, and there was no trace left behind, no clue as to where they might have ended up or why they were taken. There was a sense of desperation in the air among friends and family members of the missing. The fear gripped the town and settled in the solar plexus of every home. The whole community came together in a time of desperation. They held secret meetings and whispered about desperate measures as they strove to pool enough of everything they had to strike a deal with a slayer who had a solid reputation. The sort of slayer you'd want to call if things got so bad you couldn't even imagine. It was all they had, and it was probably enough to make even the great Dracula wince. Arriving in town is the Vampire Slayer, an almost mythical character who is admired and feared. There is no one even close to him in skill and courage. Of course, you have heard of him, but not nearly enough to know what he is truly capable of. The people in town, some of whom look like the characters in a gothic horror movie, stare in awe as he passes by, and some of them tremble in fear of what may come next. The Slayer is determined. He sets out on his perilous trip up the serpentine road to the castle, with each footfall history and the hushed voices of battles past accompany him. The sky grows ever darker, and fear coils at the pit of the stomach. When the Slayer gets closer to the castle, the mood becomes even more suffocating. Dark figures seem to dance threateningly, and a frigid unease creeps into the air. The castle, a huge and ominous appearance in the night, appears to ooze harmful intent with every stone. As the Slayer enters the castle, he is instantly shrouded in an oppressive darkness. The foreboding halls themselves seem alive with a threatening force that is as old as the building. Every corner could conceal the kind of harm that the Slayer's senses are perfectly in tune to detect and react to. As he ventures further into the labyrinth, the Slayer faces many different obstacles, all of them very harmful and evil. He sees the cloudy, phantom-like figures that warn him to turn back. He steps on hidden traps that drop from the ceiling, channeling his problem-solving energy into a desperate bid to keep living. He confronts the laboriously set-up magical illusions that test his... what exactly? His despair if they work right. His ability to keep going when everything else says to stop, perhaps. Unmatched bravery and courage defined the Slayer as he marched in the front lines of the dark halls of the castle. He was armed with both knowledge of their ancient ways and an arsenal of unrivaled weaponry. Navigating treacherous corridors lined with traps and false floors, he displayed unwavering determination in the face of what he knew could be his final hours. With every step nearer the vampire's den, the Slayer's anxiety mounted. He registered every nuance of the uncertain twilight world, the elongated forms shaped by lamplight, the brush of a bat wing through the air, the almost silent but unmistakably malign wheezing that issued from the throat of a waiting vampire. This was an uphill journey through thick atmosphere, and uphill in the sense that it took pluck, courage under pressure, and a heap of determination. Finally, the Slayer discovered the lair of the vampire. Yet, upon arriving, the wretched creature was there, eager for the confrontation. What ensued was a battle of the ages, fought with an almost incomprehensible amount of might and fury. Onlookers would have been privileged indeed to witness it. A triumphant moment for the vampire appeared to be all but certain, but then the scales tipped in favor of the Slayer, who seemed certain to win. The outcome of this mortal combat was blurred at best. With all the stamina and might he could muster, the Slayer drove his blessed silver blade through the heart of the beast, achieving a well-earned win. The vampire stumbled onto the ground, losing his drive to continue, and the smothering weight of his sins were lifted from the world. After his head was removed, the lifeless body melts away into a puddle of blood. The hero exited the castle, thence to find weak and disoriented victims of the perished devil. Having been successful, he accompanied these horrified townsfolk back to their homes. The people of the town led the way. They thought all hope was lost while rotting away in the castle, and now they are free and couldn't wait to see their loved ones again. The moment the townspeople saw their beloved family members, they could not contain their exhilaration and appreciation. There, those tired, old faces found an irresistible enthusiasm. They wept, they stood, and they even swooned a little when they realized, truly, that their nearest and dearest were alive, not tortured, well-fed, whole, and finally free from the clutches of the hellish prison. Having done what he had to do, the Slayer got set to leave. The people who lived in the town thanked him heartily and gave him gifts. Still, the Slayer, in modesty, took only a few of the items. Then, he looked at the people who had to stay. Finally, after his eyes took in each detail of the area as if to savor them, he turned, leaving them, and he, by himself, went back into the horizon. Once the vampire was taken out of the picture, the future of the town, specifically the castle, was pondered. On one hand, it was proposed that the castle be revived, or at least the exterior of the structure be brought back to its prime condition, restoring the castle, in effect, to a life that it had enjoyed in the past. On the other hand, some citizens of the town wondered if the castle had not been abandoned for so long that it should remain thus. The pace of life in the town gradually returned to what was now the new normal. Shops repopulated, children lined the streets with play, and the sound of laughter was heard once more. Even so, the people possessed an underlying hesitation, surviving as they were on a fragile thread. Though the vampire is no longer here, the people of the town still feel like they need to be on the lookout. They are still careful and take a good look around whenever they pass the castle. Strolling around at night is very uncommon. Unseen eyes make the people believe that there's something going on that they should know about. The heroism of the Slayer will go down in history. His talent and fearlessness, when pitted against the vampire, indeed returned the townspeople to a state of ease and security. His example is as simple as it is profound, and it proclaims that there is nothing more to fear, because there is always somebody who will stand up and fight. This tale is told to underline the value of community and bravery in the face of fear. When the citizens banded together, their collective act of courage transformed the nightmarish appearance of the castle into a more hopeful and triumphant ending. Like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling tales that inspire and entertain. Stay brave, stay united, and face your fears head on.